Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the ZapSec Modernization Series. My name is Carl Schneider, Vice President at ZapSec, and I'm joined by Anoop Tupad, who is our Senior Network Architect. So, Anoop, I was on a call last week with a VP of Infrastructure for an enterprise that has around 2,000 branches, and their MPLS contract is going to be up in 9 months. So, the CFO wants to cancel that contract and bank the savings, but obviously the network team is full of panic.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand their panic, but I had one question, Carl. How many of those 2,000 branches have actually been assessed for the SD-WAN readiness?
Well, zero. They have no
Uh,
business case, but they do have a deadline.
Yeah, this is classic, right? The answer isn't like migrate faster, right? It's the structured coexistence. Like MPLS and SD-WAN are running together and, circuits decommissioned side by side as branches gets validated. And we have 12 to 18 months of timeline. But the CFO doesn't need to wait until 18 months for the savings, right? Like for simple spoke sites, we can definitely decommission the MPLS in the first month itself because it's a small
Yeah,
site. We don't need the MPLS at all.
that makes total sense. So really the
Yeah.
first move in all this is not a technology decision. It's really to go through and classify your sites.
Yeah, and we have like three types here to classify it. In a type A, we have a simple spoke site where a single internet uplink is there, and we have an SD-WAN edge and no MPLS dependency. And 60 to 70% of your branches are at the lowest risk, and they are template driven as well as, and we can migrate them in within less than a day per site, right? And
Uh-huh.
you can migrate them first and decommission their MPLS circuits, and immediately, the CFO will get the return on investment. It will start saving on that MPLS circuit. And
Okay.
type B, we have hybrid branches where we have dual transport links and SD-WAN as a primary link and MPLS as a fallback. And we have app-aware routing in this, and critical apps, stay on the MPLS until you have 30 days of SLA, data proving that SD-WAN is equivalent. And I want to put this point as well, where 25 to 30% of branches we can migrate them in 4 to 8 months.
Okay. Okay.
And we have type C where hub and DC sites, like 5 to 10% of the entire estate, but I would say, but 80% of this has a routing complexity here, and three connection convergence, converging at the DC core is happening, and redistribution boundary between MPLS and SD-WAN lives here basically. These are the, I would say, these maintain the longest MPLS connections, and we have to migrate them last because of the complex routing infrastructure in them.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Like you said, because of the complexity, but also that redistribution boundary is where the projects blow up, right? We should dig into that.
Yeah, that is where we have our next slide.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have on the left, we have MPLS VPN cloud with, we have a provider edge router one and two, and we have unmigrated spokes there. And on the right, we have SD-WAN fabric with OMP under vSmart, and we have two-way edge switches, the layer three
Mhm.
switches. On the center, we have a hub router in amber, warning in triangle, and BGP routes in OMP routes out. That's the loop risk zone, basically.
So, the loop risk, can you explain the loop?
Yeah, so the loop here is without route tags and the metric tuning, BGP routes, redistributed into OMP at the hub A propagates to hub B, but hub B redistributes it back into the BGP, the
Uh,
same prefix in both domains, different metrics, right? This loops until the time to live packet expires. And once the packet expires, it will drop the packet and it is not reaching anywhere. So
mm,
it's not a clean draw, but you'll have intermittent outages. You cannot troubleshoot reactively at that moment. But there are, I want to point out the three boxes at the bottom,
okay.
where the red one has, shows the routing loop, and the amber one, explains the OMP preference lower than BGP, which has lower BGP local preference value, and routing tags and filter at every boundary. The green one basically is a trace route from both MPLS only and SD-WAN only spokes. Then pull the MPLS circuit and confirm the SD-WAN failover within SLA. If you haven't run these tests before migration, you don't have a coexistence. You just have a hope there that it will work
Right.
through.
And hope is not a strategy, right? So you talked before about like a 12 to 18 month strategy, a roadmap for
Yeah.
that. Let's walk through that.
Okay, yeah, and we have month 1 to 3, we deploy the hub controllers and we classify all the sites, and as I said in the previous slide, we migrate the simple spoke sites, so that they will, we can the first MPLS circuits are gone, right? The smaller circuit, smallest sites of MPLS circuits are gone, and CFOs sees the savings immediately on these sites. And month 4 to 8, we tackle the hybrid branches. We have dual transport links, and we have app-aware routing configured, and we tackle these sites by circuit. Decommissioning each site as it gets validated. And we need to remember we don't have to rush it here. We take it circuit by circuit, right? And month 9 to 14, we have hub and DC migration, and we have connections converging here, and redistribution boundary lives here. So the failover testing at every hub needs to happen, right? And you cannot compress this phase, and because validation has to take place here, and validation takes time here. And month 15 to 18, we have a full SD-WAN, and MPLS is gone, and SAS optimizations, ZTNA, and everything else is configured. And we will hand over the sites to NOC fully. And then the NOC will take care of SD-WAN overlay diagnostics, and they will start monitoring it for next 72 hours.
Awesome. Okay, so earlier you covered four things that kill these projects, like the routing loops, and you got that covered.
Mm-hmm.
The app SLA violations from cutting over before you have 30 days of data, that's been addressed. The premature circuit cancellation, like we need finance needs to, network ops to sign off before they do that, so no
Mm-hmm.
exceptions. But that's when the
Yeah,
savings start accumulating. And knock readiness, the SD-WAN training starts month one, not month eight, right? So I really like
correct.
this AppSec approach, like our secret sauce, as I like to say. And we can provide listeners with this planning template that includes the site classification and the redistribution design, the circuit decommission tracker, and the knock readiness, all of that. If you're caught between CFO pressure and what's actually possible, that's what our SD-WAN migration services are built for, right?
Yeah, the organization, I want to highlight that the organization that gets this right aren't the ones with the best technology, they are the ones with best sequencing.
Right, right. So we
Yeah,
start by classifying your sites, right?
yeah, you tune your, redistribution here,
Right. Yeah, and decommission in phases. I get it. Yep.
and you give the coexistence the runway it actually needs.
Yes. Yeah. Agreed. Great advice,
Yeah.
Anu. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for watching. Don't forget, ZapSec helps companies maximize their ROI and minimize their threats every day. We do this infrastructure optimization all the time. We've been there, we've done that. If any of this resonates with you, we'd welcome the conversation on how to bring this sort of transformation to your organization. Visit zapsec.com or reach out directly. Our email addresses are visible at the beginning of the video.